Hello there and welcome once again to Colors of India. The culture meter is on a new high this week thanks to the many summer festivals happening in this city. We'll go ahead with all those stories, but first, the headlines. Swaratma rocks the city. Vibrant Georgian numbers and mouth-watering Afghani biryani. Few bands can mix rock songs with folk without sounding brash and hybrid. Bangalore's folk rock band Swaratma can create music that can move you.
On World Environment Day, Delhi-based NGO Swechha returned yet again with Yamunotsav, their annual concert aiming to spread environmental consciousness. This year's Bangalore-based folk rock band Swaratma performed with guest appearances by Rahul Ram and Amit Kilam from the rock band Indian Ocean.
The purpose of Yamunotsav is primarily to leave people with those ideas, wherefore they don't need to do big things in life. They can actually do smaller things and be part of change and change the environment, because there's a lot that is going wrong, and I think all of us need some bit of inspiration, some bit of gyan, some bit of real that push to change something around us.
A modern-day band, Swaratma believes in fusion of classical folk with rock and jazz. To top it off, they're also a socially active band that takes up socially relevant subjects in their songs. Issues like the 24/7 media sensationalism in Aaj Ki Taza Fikr to the commercialism faced by consumers in Kurane are all part of the lyrics.
बोलेंगे कुछ गाएंगे और नचाएंगे संत कबीर ने देखा था एक सपना.
I think the most interesting part about being in this band is that we get to share our feelings with the world, our frustrations, the reasons why we feel excited, passionate, disgusted. All of these things, the emotions we package together in music and bring it out in front of the world. That fusion needs to first happen in the mind. You must be open to different kinds of music if you want to blend them together and create something memorable.
प्यासी हूँ मैं तुमको पिला के थक गई हूँ मोड़ों पे रुक के. प्यासी हूँ मैं तुमको पिला के थक गई हूँ मोड़ों पे रुक के. प्यासी हूँ मैं तुमको पिला के थक गई हूँ मोड़ों पे रुक के. अश्क तो बहने दो पानी हूँ पानी रहने दो.
Their songs Pyasi and Dur Kinara brought their concern to save River Yamuna and solve water disputes.
रे गहरी नदियाँ
music has a way of tying people together. And when you sing about environmental issues, you should make nice songs first. You should not just be lyrics without a nice tune. And I am really appreciative of Swaratma because they are doing very nice work. And I had fun listening to their concert from front row, and I really appreciate what they did.
The union of traditional instruments like the violin, tabla and mridangam with the modern musical vessels like guitar and drums accompanied by the energizing vocals of Basu Dixit makes their group stand out. And Delhi absolutely loved their classical numbers between the rock show.
Swaratma has always had something to say in each and every song, subtly making their point and getting it across to the millions with the power of music. Now, after that rock and folk number, let's get into the mood for something classical.
The Portuguese Cultural Centre, in association with Delhi Music Society and India International Centre, hosted a solo guitar recital by Portuguese guitarist Pedro Rodrigues. Since the age of 5, Pedro has been playing the guitar and is now known as a rising star in the field of classical guitar music.
We have a lot of young youth traveling abroad for study purposes or even for work, and when they come back, they have much more exposure towards cultures of the other countries. Pedro Rodriguez actually on the same lines, he has been seeing a lot of classical guitar programs in India, and he was quite keen to travel to India and give master classes to the students of School of Music.
Inspired by classical composers like Beethoven, Pedro performs in the traditional style, giving it just a slight twist of his own. In this recital, he started with the musical pieces composed by the great George Frederick Handel. Here, Pedro's liveliness in the French style overture was evident.
There is an increasing number of students, an increasing number of great guitar players, and the classical guitar is reaching almost every concert hall in the world and many festivals. So I think it stopped being an outcast instrument for the classical music.
He also played certain musical notes by Antonio Pinho Varga, Nuno Guende Campo, and Johann Sebastian Bach. Most of the pieces, like the Varga, were actually written for the piano, but Pedro flawlessly molded them to suit his guitar. And that too with expert precision, which had the audience asking for more.
It was really delightful. Mr. Pedro Rodriguez is indeed a professional, and the people of Delhi are very fortunate to have had this opportunity to hear him.
In the entire performance, Pedro, through his transcription, maintained the required serenity in the pieces. From the French-style overture until the last segment of gig, which marks the climax, he retained a sense of majesty.
The classical style of guitar playing is sure to have struck a chord of joy in your hearts. It's now time for us to take a small break. Don't go anywhere because Colors of India will be back in a jiffy.
Coming up, folk tunes of Georgia. and some mouth-watering Afghan delicacy.
Welcome back. Delhi is witnessing many cultural imports, and once again folk and traditional tunes make it to the stage, this time from Georgia.
The Embassy of Georgia, in collaboration with the Indian Council of Cultural Relations, hosted a traditional folk dance and music performance by Chwene Burebi, a folk group from Georgia. Theirs is a rich and vibrant culture, and they perform to their traditional folk songs, reflecting the many aspects of everyday life through their dance.
Looking at the dances today from Georgia, you would detect that there is a very strong resemblance to kind of gypsy or the Mediterranean flavor in their dances, which again brings out the similarity that we may have shared at one time with them. So that's an interesting thought to me. But otherwise, the music and the dance, they were absolutely superlative, fabulous.
Chwene Burebi is an 8-member band, each hailing from a different part of Georgia. This variety helps them maintain authentic traditions and manner of singing. They also use polyphony textures in their music, and this technique of having more than one melodic voice is the hallmark of Georgian musical tradition.
Chwene Burebi in Georgian means our people, and it means the man and person who is very close to you with heart, with soul, and something like that. We call Chwene Buri to Georgian, all Georgians and all people who are very close to each other, to us, with their character and so and so.
The singers were supported with traditional Georgian instruments like shonguri and fanduri, 2-string instruments with doli, accordion, bagpipe and guitar. With songs of love, ritual and patriotism, this show had everyone humming to their tunes.
It was a very good event that I saw. The music was great, even though we couldn't understand the language. It was excellent music. It was excellent for the ears. The dancing was too good. I've never seen such a dance in my life.
Their dancing was exceptional, with smooth foot movements rising to their quick, rapturous actions. Their attire was representative of the war times in Georgia. Specially invited folk dancers, Nido and Fridon wore dresses resembling the ones of kings and queens, And my, Delhi got a real good look at Georgian life.
Their costumes, the style and the vibrancy of the Georgian culture. What a treat that evening turned out to be. Now, the Afghani Theatre Company recently did their version of Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors. Up next.
We came into the world like brother and brother. And now, let's go hand in hand, not one before another. This was the motto of Rajya as they put together the Afghani version of Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors under the tutelage of French director Corinne Jabbar. The play was in Dari Persian language.
It's been retranslated into Dari Persian, and what I've done is I've just relocated the play in Afghanistan rather than it being relocated or located in Greece as in Shakespeare. And we've changed all the characters' names to Dari names, Afghan names, and that's all. And there's very, very little cut because it's one of Shakespeare's early plays, so it's one of his shortest comedies.
The play is about two pairs of separated twins who find each other in adulthood, which leads to confusions within the family. The story progresses as a romantic comedy of confusion and ultimate reunion.
You could imagine the play as it happened earlier as written by Shakespeare, and yet when you listen to the songs, when you listen to the music, and when you listen to the different incidents, they are specifically very, very Afghan or shall I say Central Asian incidents. So to impose a Central Asian culture on Shakespearean theme, it has been done very, very well indeed.
10 odd years after the fall of Taliban, theatre is yet to return to the cultural mainstream in Afghanistan. But Comedy Ashtabad works with the assumption that the audience is well versed with the plot of the Comedy of Errors. If someone had walked into the show knowing nothing of Shakespeare's original, they'd have a hard time getting tuned in.
One has seen and heard many interpretations of Shakespeare's works, but this Afghani version was the first of its kind. Now it's time for us to take a small break, but on the other side we have for you something even more Afghani.
Coming up, authentic flavors of Afghanistan in Food Trail.
Welcome back. They say Delhi is a melting pot of many cultures and cuisines. And on Food Trail this week, we are on the lookout for this very aspect of the city.
Delhi is a wonderfully cosmopolitan city, and the best thing is the variety of cuisines one can find. Our quest took us to the narrow bylanes of Lajpat Nagar. From the tall Pashtun men and strong-featured women, hoardings written in Persian and Urdu, it felt like mini Afghanistan within Delhi itself. On the quest for authentic Afghan food, our eyes fell on the Afghani naans. An absolute must-have, these massive Afghani naans are made and designed in naan bakers, dotting the streets of Afghan colony, and come at a happy price of 10 rupees or even less.
Lajpat Nagar can feel like Kabul Central, and nothing illustrates this better than this very stretch here in Lajpat Nagar, famously called the Afghan colony. Well, this place is home to more than hundreds of Afghans who made this place their home in early 90s. And if you look around, this stretch is dotted with n number of Afghan restaurants, bakery, So today I'm going to get inside and find out what it is like to taste authentic Afghani food sitting right here in Delhi. Come. Kabul Delhi restaurant. Seated on lounging divans, the Afghan patrons chattered away and shared their meal, a typical Afghani style of eating. On meeting the owner Hashmat, he extended a personal invitation. अफगान कॉलोनी दिल्ली के साउथ दिल्ली एरिया में लाजपत नगर के बीच में कैसे बसा, कब से बसा?
अफ़गानिस्तान में जितने भी लोग आते हैं ज़्यादातर इलाज कराने आते हैं, डॉक्टर के पास जाना, घूमने भी आते हैं, बिज़नेस के लिए भी आते हैं लोग, तो यहाँ पे लोग ज़्यादा आते हैं और यहाँ पे अफ़गानी खाना उनको मिलता है क्योंकि इंडियन खाना जो है वो अफ़गानी थोड़ा नहीं खा सकते।
तो आज हम क्या खा सकते हैं यहाँ पे आपके काबुल दिल्ली रेस्टोरेंट में?
मेन्यू कार्ड है, इसमें उर्दू फारसी में भी लिखा हुआ है और इंग्लिश में भी।
अच्छा, उर्दू फारसी ये तो समझ आएगा नहीं,
वो तो हाँ
इंग्लिश
हाँ। आज हम आपको काबुली पुलाव जो है ये स्पेशल, जैसे इंडिया में बिरयानी बनता है लेकिन ये डिफरेंट होगा बिल्कुल। खाने के बाद आपको पता चल जाएगा क्या डिफरेंट है इसमें।
Total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plates, and this is meal for 2. I mean, he expects me to have this all by myself. But let's try and start with the biryani here. Starting from salad, naan, kidney beans or lobia, bamia or bhindi, mantu or the Afghani version of momo, banjan or brinjal curry, along with mutton korma, kebab chapana, Kabuli pulao, and the list went on.
आजकल तो अब तो धीरे धीरे इंडियन भी बहुत आते हैं हमारे पास। अफ़गानी खाना, ख़ास अफ़गानी बिरयानी जो है उनको बहुत अच्छा लगता है। हालांकि उसमें कोई स्पाइस नहीं है, कोई मिर्च नहीं है, कोई मसाला कुछ नहीं, बिल्कुल लाइट होता है, लेकिन फिर भी टेस्ट होता है उसमें।
Oh wow, yeah, I can see the soft tender mutton pieces inside.
The happiest part, despite the variety, the cost of the dishes are quite affordable and the food not spicy yet far from bland, easy on the stomach and leaves you feeling full.
If you ask me, out of all the lovely variety that we have out here, my complete favorite is the Kabuli pulao. The tender mutton pieces, the soft raisins, the not so spicy flavor is absolutely mind-blowing. So if you're thinking of Afghani colony and if you're thinking of Afghan cuisine, what you can't afford to absolutely miss is Kabuli pulao. Absolutely go for it, my recommendation.
Cuisines like traditions are ever evolving, and it is this magic potion that lends it the unique flavor. Now, if you have your favorite eating spot, then do let us know through our Facebook page. We'd love to cover the same. And that's all we have for you on this week's episode of Colors of India. I will see you next week. Take care and bye-bye.